Here we go, Fabrizio Romano signals Real Madrid's next quiet but important exit. Here we go, Fabrizio Romano signals Real Madrid's next quiet but important exit. Benfica are tough negotiators who have remained firm on Real Madrid paying the full release clause of the Spaniard. Madrid, who have already spent heavily on recent signings, were hoping for a no discount. They aimed to sign Carreras before the Club World Cup, but Benfica did not budge until their terms were met. Talks virtually collapsed at that point and had remained dormant, until now. Real Madrid strike a quiet but strategic move in the Carreras deal. Real Madrid have now come up with a master plan to convince Benfica to let Alvaro Carreras go, with adjusted terms that could benefit Los Blancos in the long run. According to ace journalist Fabrizio Romano, Castilla fullback Rafael Obrador is set to join SL Benfica on a permanent deal from Real Madrid for a fee of €5 million, with Madrid retaining a buyback clause. Romano adds that this transfer is directly tied to the Carreras negotiations, which have resumed recently after the collapse earlier this summer. He confirmed Obrador's move with his signature, "Here we go," adding that the medicals are scheduled soon. Alvaro Carreras' signing is extremely important for Real Madrid. The left-back position has been the most vulnerable area for Los Blancos in recent seasons, and one that indirectly affected Vinicius Jr., whose performances dipped in part due to lack of support behind him. The inclusion of Obrador in the Carreras deal could prove to be the key to unlocking Benfica's resistance and speeding up the agreement. According to ace journalist Fabrizio Romano, Castilla fullback Rafael Obrador is set to join SL Benfica on a permanent deal from Real Madrid for a fee of €5 million, with Madrid retaining a buyback clause. Fran Garcia's rise has certainly improved things on the left, but as mentioned, depth is always welcome, especially when Ferland Mendy is not the profile Xabi Alonso prefers. In fact, the Frenchman could soon become Madrid's biggest defensive liability after David Alaba, if he stays. Official, Real Madrid starting lineup against PSG, Mbappe returns. As Real Madrid get set for their biggest test of the Xabi Alonso era thus far, the new manager has announced the starting lineup that will take the field against PSG tonight in the FIFA Club World Cup semi-final. One of the biggest questions heading up to the game was whether the Real Madrid boss would reinstate Kylian Mbappe to the starting lineup or continue with Gonzalo Garcia or deploy both in attack. And, the manager has opted to go with latter option, starting both Mbappe and Garcia, while Vinicius Jr. also retains his spot in the team. Meanwhile, Trent Alexander-Arnold misses out due to a setback he suffered in training on Tuesday. In his place, Federico Valverde occupies the right-back position while Fran Garcia continues on the left. Jude Bellingham, Arda Güler, and Aurelien Tchouameni are the three central midfielders, although the Frenchman could drop into the defensive line in between the two centre-backs, Antonio Rudiger and Raúl Asensio, who replaces the suspended Dean Huijsen. Thibaut Courtois continues in goal. Real Madrid icon sends out warning to Barcelona and the rest of the world, a new era begins. Real Madrid have been one of the most impressive teams in the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup and have quite deservedly secured a ticket to the semi-final, where they will take on PSG. Heading into this high-octane clash, former Real Madrid superstar has weighed his thoughts on the match, backing his former club to secure a victory. The 11 of players expected to be made use of by Real Madrid head coach Xabi Alonso in the club's upcoming showdown with Paris Saint-Germain has on Wednesday been revealed, and it points towards a likely pair of changes in Los Blancos' lineup. Real Madrid are of course primed to return to action later this evening, when they lock horns with Champions League holders PSG. A place in the finale of the Club World Cup is on the line, with the winners set to take on Premier League giants Chelsea in the showcase. In turn, it should come as little surprise to hear of Xabi Alonso preparing to call upon a strong 11 of players to take to the pitch at MetLife Stadium. As revealed by Marca, 2 changes are expected on the part of Real, one at the back, and one up top. The first is enforced, with Raúl Asensio set to replace the suspended Dean Huijsen. And also in line to drop out, despite his stellar performance at the tournament to date, is youngster Gonzalo Garcia, as much will allow Kylian Mbappe to return to starting duties following a recent bout of illness. Check out Los Blancos' predicted lineup to face PSG in full below. Courtois, Trent, Asensio, Tchouameni, Rudiger, Fran Garcia, Valverde, Güler, Bellingham, Vinicius, Mbappe. Real Madrid coach Xabi Alonso, Paris Saint-Germain thrashing is good for us. Real Madrid head coach Xabi Alonso said that Wednesday's 4-0 thrashing by Paris Saint-Germain in the Club World Cup semi-finals is good for us. Aiming to win the newly reimagined FIFA Summer Tournament, Madrid was bulldozed by Luis Enrique's Champions League holders who will now face Premier League giants Chelsea in the final on Sunday. Reacting to the loss, Alonso, who took over from Carlo Ancelotti in May, lamented a terrible start for Los Blancos. It found them 2 goals down in 8 minutes, thanks to defensive blunders from Raúl Asensio and Antonio Rudiger capitalized upon by Fabian Ruiz and Ousmane Dembele respectively. The start of the match marked the tie a lot. It was uphill for us in the 10th minute, he said. PSG is a 2-year project and we have been there for a short time. It is a sign of what we have left to work on and obviously it hurts. Alonso admitted that the 2 early goals proved to be too much to overcome against a team that has a good level. There's a lot to analyze and a lot to learn from today's defeat, he admitted, though he tried to look on the bright side of things. Today is good for us to know the route that we have left to improve. We are starting, we have been in the context of a competition for 3 weeks and without training, and now we know where we are and to look at where we want to be and prepare for it. In 4 weeks we are back, he noted. Alonso insists that the thrashing is not the starting point for next season. I'm sure there are things that have been good in this process, but today is not the start of next season, it's the end of this season and we'll start in a different way, he vowed. Real Madrid legends bow out with loss. The last 4 loss was the final appearance for Real Madrid legends Luka Modric and Lucas Vazquez, who will now move on. It has been a short time, but I have been with them trying to make them enjoy their last days for what they have meant. It is not the best farewell, but I thank them on behalf of everyone for what they have meant to the club, Alonso said regarding this. Real Madrid must change and adapt in order to defend its interests. That was the message from President Florentino Perez at the Real Madrid General Assembly back in November. It was the first public acknowledgement of a series of stories that the man at the top was looking into a potential change to the ownership model at the Santiago Bernabeu. The most decorated club in European Cup history has been owned by the members since its inception 122 years ago. And despite falling on fallow times during the Civil War, was turned into a behemoth by Bernabeu. Thus far, presidents remain elected by members though, even if Perez has run largely unopposed for much of the 21st century. What exactly is Florentino Perez proposing? Official details are hazy, but Perez had the following to say at the General Assembly earlier this season. We will bring to this assembly a proposal for the club's corporate reorganization that will clearly secure our future, protect us from the threats we are facing and, above all, ensure that we members are the real owners of our club, the real owners of our financial assets in our own right. Previous reports had indicated that he was planning on converting Real Madrid members into shareholders, in a model which would ensure that 51% of the shareholders would remain Real Madrid members. The idea was that members could not sell their shares, and would only be passed on to family, while being able to attract foreign investment. Perez advised against changing Real Madrid ownership. However, a report from El Confidencial, as referenced by Sport, reveals that Clifford Chance have advised against the idea. The US consultancy firm has been working with Perez on the idea, and sent him a report on the matter, highlighting potential issues. Their opinion is that allocating the shares to the Real Madrid Foundation would go against current legislation, and the alternative would be to convert the club into a private company like other clubs. That would in turn potentially wrest control of the club from the members. Any change to the ownership model must be approved by a majority vote from the members. Real Madrid boss Xabi Alonso is under no illusions over the task facing him after their FIFA Club World Cup exit. Los Blancos bowed out of the tournament at the semi-final stage after being hammered 4-0 by UEFA Champions League winners PSG in New Jersey. Defensive errors had Real Madrid on the back foot from the start, but in reality, they never got close to Luis Enrique's red-hot team. After cruising to the Final Four, Real Madrid were unable to match PSG, and Alonso will spend the coming weeks focusing on how and where to improve. Alonso outlines where Real Madrid are compared to PSG. Alonso was clear in his view of where his team are right now and he believes they are not even close to PSG's current level. There's a lot to analyze and learn from. We now know where we are, and where to look, and where we want to be and prepare for it. PSG are a team. We have just begun our journey. We suffered and it was difficult. There are many things we want to do better. It hurts today. This is the last game of the 2024-25 season. Our season now starts in August. Quote, PSG versus Real Madrid in numbers. It was not just the 4 goals that separated the two teams at full time. PSG's dominance was displayed across the board, as Real Madrid flopped. Luis Enrique's side topped the in-game possession stats, with 68% compared to 32% for Alonso's team, with 17 shots to 11. More precisely, they scored 4 goals from 7 shots on target, where Real Madrid's 2 efforts on the PSG goal did not really trouble Gianluigi Donnarumma. Perhaps the best stat from the game came via pass masters PSG, who registered 631 successful passes from 681 attempted in the game compared to Real Madrid's 255. Paris Saint-Germain 4-0 Real Madrid, European champions knock out Real Madrid in dominant display. Paris Saint-Germain thrashed Real Madrid 4-0 to secure their place in the Club World Cup final against Chelsea on the 13th of July. Les Parisiens were dominant early in the first half and took advantage of 2 Real Madrid mistakes. Firstly, Raúl Asensio failed to take care of Désiré Doué's cross, which was latched onto by Ousmane Dembélé, who went past Thibaut Courtois before passing it to Fabien Ruiz, who put the ball into the empty net for PSG. Moments later, Real Madrid defender Antonio Rudiger was caught napping on the ball by Dembele, who broke away for a one-on-one with Courtois, before curling the ball into the bottom left corner to double the lead for the French side. Despite Madrid's attempts to break away on the counter, they never really threatened the PSG defense, who looked to be in control of the game. In the 25th minute, they got the third in a trademark breakaway. Hakimi played a 1-2 with Dembele before crossing into the box from the right-hand side to find Brahim Diaz, who powered the ball past Courtois for his second goal of the game. PSG went into half-time with a 3-goal lead. In the second half, Real looked to get back into the game, as Kylian Mbappe moved centrally to threaten the PSG defense on the break. Los Blancos also brought on Luka Modric to gain control that they had been missing throughout the first half. However, they were unable to get a breakthrough despite their efforts. As the game drew to a close, Goncalo Ramos played a 1-2 with Bradley Barcola before sealing his side's emphatic victory with a clinical finish. PSG's win means they set up a final against Chelsea on Sunday, and they will take some stopping. As it happened, the MetLife Stadium was filled to the brim to welcome a clash between two European giants and the last two Champions League winners. However, the anticipation many had for a close and balanced game was quickly brushed away early on. PSG showed their intent, making a threatening start to the game. In the 4th minute, Fabian Ruiz drilled a shot from the right-hand side, forcing a save from Thibaut Courtois. Shortly after, Hakimi's low-drilled cross found Dembele in the box, who shot straight at Courtois, who was forced to make another save. The first few minutes were end-to-end, as Real Madrid broke away on the counterattack in reply. Kylian Mbappe found himself in the box but wasn't able to make a strong connection with the ball. Moments later, PSG took the lead early on. In a lapse of concentration from Real defender, Dembele stole the ball from him with the winger rounding the ball past Courtois and squaring it to Ruiz to put Les Parisians in the lead. Real tried to respond after going behind with a breakaway of their own. In the 8th minute, Vinicius Jr. went clear on the wing to put in a cross for Gonzalo Garcia, who was unable to get a touch on the ball. Clinically, PSG took their chance to make Real pay. Dembele's constant pressing forced another mistake from the Real defense, this time from Antonio Rudiger. The Frenchman pounced onto Rudiger's loose touch before bearing down on Donnarumma's goal, and curling the ball home for his 35th goal of the season, giving his side a 2-goal lead. Real Madrid again tried to respond with Vinicius Jr. breaking away on another counterattack, but Nuno Mendes made ground to stop him before he got his shot away. PSG seemed to have an answer for every Real counter. Moments later, PSG scored a third in the 25th minute. Hakimi played a 1-2 with Dembele, who broke away on the right-hand side, squaring it to Ruiz once again, who took a touch before slotting it into the bottom corner.